hard to believe there was that many guys here at one time.
Yeah.
And gals. Mostly guys, I'm sure.
That was the hard part for him.
Yeah.
And for the film, yeah, still Con Air, when Steve Buscemi plays with a little girl and her dolls at a trailer park, it happens in that kiddie pool right over there. So you can see our changing houses, which is that wooden shack.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
So
gosh.
you'll have the original swimming pool foundation right over there you can go see.
And didn't the guys used to swim in that back in the day?
They did. That was built for them for comfort, of course, because there was nothing in Wendover and it was hot. But then they also used it for survival training. So they would take life rafts out there and learn different survival methods, how to make sails, that kind of thing.
Oh my word. Wow, cool.
So do they still use this old control tower when they bring in a plane?
Nope, we're an uncontrolled airfield now.
Oh.
So we'll just breeze by this hangar and we're going to go into Hangar 2. You can see there's a few private aircraft parked inside. See some of that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, it's good that there's still something going on in them.
Yeah, these are our really only local pilots in Wendover, or passing aircraft will sometimes park in there if the weather's awfully bad. So we started as a sub-post of Fort Douglas when they first created this bombing and gunnery range that's out to the east of us, and today is the Utah Test and Training Range. But after Pearl Harbor, by March of 1942, we opened as an independent heavy bomber training base. So we started hosting our own bomb groups that we were going to train, which is what the hangars were used for. This was the base operations building, and now it's the airport office and FBO. So still in use, and you're welcome to walk through there. There's a few exhibits.
Oh, nice.
You guys keep that, maintain that?
The aircraft,
No, that little building there?
the airport does.
Okay.
The jailbird. Oh,
Yep, now you can see the nose there.
oh my word.
So I'm sure you saw when you were inside, but the cockpit has a steering wheel. That's
Yes.
because they were just driving this one out here. So it still also has the accelerator and brake pedal.
So that's the plane they used in Con Air.
And they pulled the original engines out and they just put in electric motors that could semi-convincingly spin a propeller. So that's
Wow.
how they rigged it up.
Hangar 2, what's that?
So this one is rented by a private group where they fly and restore early Air Force jets. So we'll get to see a couple of those inside.
Boy, that thing is. Look at the aluminum on that thing shining. Man.
Wow.
Not something you would have seen here in World War II.
No.
These are
No.
T-33s. So this was the Air Force's first jet trainer, and the single-seat version was the Kier F-80 Shooting Star. And those actually came online in 1945, though they never saw combat. So they're technically World War II era aircraft. So these guys, the original owner of this plane, he just passed away last year. He owned a couple of them, so they've since been sold, and we're waiting to see what exactly happens, but at least one of them will stay here.
Oh, wow.
And then his mechanics, they're still doing the work, and people are bringing their jets in, and they'll service this specific type of aircraft. They've been doing it for about 20 years now.
Really? Right
So-
here at this hangar.
Yeah,
Those doors still work.
they do.
Really?
As long as they're maintained, these doors work terrifically.
That is awesome.
So these hangars are 120 feet wide, and these were used for our B-17s and B-24s. So the longest wingspan of those two is 110 feet. So they're just barely squeezing those in here.
Wow.
So we train 20 heavy bomb groups, and then each group is split into 4 squadrons, and each squadron has about 18 aircraft, so 72 in total. So they just pull one in here, and then the rest are parked outside. They're doing maintenance out on the ramp, whatever they need. So this is kind of reserved for major overhauls, getting things out of the weather.
Look at the lumber in here.
Yeah. This is
I worked at the Freeport Center in Clearfield for a while.
Okay.
You ever been in any of those buildings?
Unfortunately not.
Man, there's so much lumber in them. They had the tracks and they would pull the flat cars right in and all the stuff. And go up with it. And they all have bridge cranes. And they're 180 feet wide and 600 feet long. And they're like 50 or 60 of them.
We put a lot of effort
Oh,
into those.
it was the naval.
And then next to each one is one of these smaller buildings where they had their offices and briefing rooms. So this is where they would have operated out of. We were a second phase training base. So guys would come from all around the country after their individual training. And at a base like ours is where they were actually put into their air crews that they were going to go into combat with. So this was essential training for making sure they could work as a cohesive unit.
Huh? Wow.
So Hangar 3 is currently leased by a local contractor, but in the movie Independence Day, well, Wendover plays Area 51, and this hangar is featured prominently when the president gives his "Today we celebrate our Independence Day" speech.
Really?
So he does that right in front of this hangar, doors open, lights on, airplanes. So if you go back and watch that, you'll see some more of Wendover.
So you were Area 51 in that movie?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Now I've got to see it just to look. And I do like that movie. I like weird, so.
Yeah. So that squadron building is currently being restored by some World War II reenactors. So when that's finished, that'll be a part of the tour.
Oh wow,
Hangar
yeah.
4 just had a new lease signed, and they have a group. We have a group that's going to be restoring it now. So at the moment, they're taking apart the doors so they can rebuild them.
Wow.
So we're excited to have that one looking nicer. And the owner has a P-51 and at least one other World War II aircraft that he wants to park out here.
So are they just donating their money for that? Where do you get the money for all that?
Yeah, that one they're just paying to fix it up themselves so they can use it.
Wow.
Nice.
So that works for us.
Heck yeah.
This is our current fire station. So that's where our big crash truck is parked. This is an original hangar, but it looks especially nice because the Utah National Guard uses it. They fly reconnaissance drones out here in Wendover.
Oh wow.
So that's their hangar for those operations.
Those doors they just keep stacking, don't they? Like
Yep.
bifolds, but like freaking 20 folds.
Yeah, so you can see there's pockets on all the hangars, so those doors get completely out of the way so they can get
Oh, yeah.
aircraft in.
Yeah,
the
that's
entire width.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're well designed. So here's our historic fire station that we're going to step inside of, and then we'll go next door to this small white building.
Big old siren on the top. Does that work? Wow.
That big one there is our airport de-icer.
Oh wow.
We just pull that out when it's nice and snowy and icy. And
Does it still work?
yeah.
Do you guys still bring in people from the airlines or the other jets coming to Wendover from out of state? Or has that stopped during COVID too?
So that was really just our charter flight.
Yeah.
So we still have private aircraft coming in and out, but we don't have any of those airliners. So this guy has not been used much this year.
Oh, wow.
Other than
It's hard to believe that thing can still run.
Yeah.
Do you know how to run it?
Yeah. We just used the bucket to install our parking lot lights at the museum about a month or so ago. So here are our two vintage fire engines.
Oh, cool. Look at this one. Oh, my.
Peek out this window real quick, you'll see some F-35s fly by.
Oh, 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 oh. Those are my favorite jets. Where are they? See him.
There they are.
I don't know if you can see him, but they're F-35s out there. Look, this is just adorable. I love it.
Yeah, this is our 1943 Ford American Friends body. This was the standard crash truck used by the Army Air Force throughout the world in World War II.
This is what you chase them down and put them out with, huh?
Exactly. And this is one of the first trucks that actually came equipped with a foam tank. You have foam for those gasoline fires for the aircraft. Both of these trucks still run. This one is actually closest to pumping condition.
Wow.
It's been very well restored. You can open the door if you want.
Reminds me of my buddy, we had a, see the starter down there on the
Oh,
starter
yeah,
button?
yeah, uh-huh.
We had
I
a
love
49
it.
Ford, or a 49 Chevy when I was a kid.
I love it.
Closed in the 70s.
Boy, that was
If you've ever been to the Hill Aerospace Museum, they have our original truck. It's like that.
I think it's a truck, it's so pretty cool. Marianne,
Hmm?
this is what your low rank truck you're going along with, the roll around the inside.
Upstairs was their sleeping quarters.
Boy, that, you'd come down that thing like a shot, wouldn't you? Because there ain't a whole lot to grab a hold of.
This one hasn't been polished for so long, it's a little grippy now, so that's not
Oh, you
too
opened the
bad.
door.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, we're going here.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So in World War II, this building was actually used for Bombardier training. So this was still that big open space, but inside we have these basically 12-foot tall scaffolds called A2 trainers. So this drives along on the floor. We have our Bombardier with his bomb sight, and he's practice sighting in that bomb sight using this little target on the ground. So he just gets real good at putting in those calculations and simulating a bomb run.
Wow.
And by 1951, all that was long gone, and that's when this became the main fire station on base. And that was the main fire station in town for several decades as well.
That's cool. Look at all that.
So we have various systems. We have a phone we need to hook up, and it actually works and connects to this line to simulate our crash phone. It was an automatic dial from the control tower. Pick that up if you see a crash. Dials to the fire station, and out they go.
Wow.
We have a firebox. So those, of course, would have been mounted all around the base. You flip one, it reports back to here, and when our ticker tape machine is printing, that would punch holes. So that would be box 235. So they have a map of the base, they know where those boxes are, and off they go to that call. So it's fun to have those systems. This is an early fire detection system that has copper coils filled with gas, so that when that gas expands from heat, that's enough to trip the electrical circuit and send out an alarm.
Wow. That's awesome.
So they were figuring out all sorts of things.
Crazy good.
So we're right here, there's the fire station. This was taken in probably late 43. So Nevada really doesn't exist at that time. They had the State Line Hotel and Casino over here, service station, a few travel cabins. There was our red light district right down there by where the water tower is.
So they had that going on then, with during the, well, when you got that many guys, you need something going on.
Yeah, I'm sure the guys were glad that was there.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, all the base.
Wow.
So out to the south as we drive along, you'll see some structures.
Mm-hmm.
On this west end, we had a small gunnery range. We still have some of those berms out there. These two buildings are still standing. They were support for that, and then they were used for the Manhattan Project later on in the war.
Oh, wow.
And these are all storage bunkers where we kept practice bombs, munitions, that kind of thing. And then up north of the interstate, we had a separate aerial gunnery school. So you can see some tracks. These are some moving target ranges around this little gully.
Wow.
So
Wow.
these guys were going to be firing the 50 caliber machine guns to defend bombers. They would spend 6 weeks up there learning how to do that. They got their certificate and they joined an air crew, whether here or shipping out somewhere else in the country.
Those big ass.
Where they hung out, waited for their next call. And they
There's
had their kitchen.
the child killer refrigerator. See?
Oh my gosh, look how cute the stove is.
And the fridge still works.
Does it? I
It
love it.
probably has sulfur dioxide for the refrigerant in it, so be careful when
Keep
you,
it closed there.
when you scrap it, be careful when you chop it. And that is located on Larson Air Force Base up there.
Look at these old lavatories, John. Cute.
Yeah.
Explains how they fit in the aircraft.
Right?
Look at all the vaults, what's this? The bank?
So this was used for Bombardier training. So next door they were practicing with the bomb sights, but our device was called the Norden Bombsight. Top secret, incredibly advanced for the time. So that's actually what helps them aim. So they're sitting in the nose of the aircraft, entering in calculations like altitude, airspeed, wind drift. And that's going to help tell them when to drop the bomb so that they'll follow that trajectory to the ground. So because it was so top secret, when they finished a mission, the Bombardier took that device from the aircraft, they maintained it in this space and locked it in our vaults. That
Really?
was to store that piece of technology. So we can open up a couple of the vaults. They would have been stored on shelves just like that one.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Wow. Look at these doors.
You ain't gonna get into there anytime quick.
Oh no.
I'll bet you there's rebar in those walls about every couple inches.
Wow.
That's what you need for a gun safe.
You could fit a couple in there.
I mean, that would be the ultimate gun safe right there. Man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not gonna do much.
With a, you know, a Ryobi sawzall and.
Pinup girls.
Yeah,
A little harder to get through concrete.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, from Wendover they'd be flying for the most part east, using our big bombing gunnery range out there through the West Desert. So they might do some longer range missions to other places in the country. So they're just practicing conventional bombing, flying about 15 to 20,000 feet, dropping 500 to 1,000 pound bombs. So they dropped those, and they're going to keep flying over. So a lot of the aircraft will have cameras, so they can actually see how the strike went, and if the bombs were hitting the target, that kind of thing. But in late 1944, the 509th Composite Group, which was the ones who were going to do the atomic mission, they were actually created here in Wendover, and they were training with the new B-29 Super Fortress. So they had to do something different when they dropped their bomb. So here in Wendover, they were practicing how to escape the blast of that atomic bomb. So as opposed to these guys who kept flying over their target, they made a 155-degree diving turn, got out of there.
All that.
So by the time it detonated 45 seconds later, they were about 8 miles away.
Wow.
And they were still using the Norden Bombsight for that mission. We developed some radar targeting capabilities so you could see through weather, that kind of thing. But a visual sighting with the Norden Bombsight was so much more accurate. They said you have to have a visual, and that's what you're going to be using.
Wow.
There's a Bombardier crouched over his bomb sight there in the nose.
Wow.
So when did they decide to add this?
And then those were involved in the Manhattan project component here in Wendover. So they were
Wow.
constructing
They got
some of
anything
the
in 'em now?
prototypes. Those are both empty now.
Even, how about the bunkers?
Those ones are just used for private storage. So folks have actually been able to rent those out. We have one that's fixed up and has some inert munitions in it, so we can show it off. That's about
I work
it.
at Thiokol, we got a lot of those, ATK.
Well, for Thiokol, out there you can see those poles kind of out to your left
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
on the horizon. In the 80s and 90s, they were doing motor testing for the solid rocket boosters and some other things. So they would take them out on that pad and charge them with artificial lightning.
That's right, I remember that. I remember when they were doing that. I've been. Well, that big, the big bunker there, or the big hangar is in pretty good shape, isn't it? You guys have given that a lift, facelift.
This one went through a major restoration 6 or 7 years ago. Gotta save America. This treasure is so much larger than all the other planes we were dealing with. This was constructed just for their use. They're maintained. They work. This one is not maintained, so I actually can't move it right now.
That's a lot. There's a lot hanging on that.
Oh, cool.
Well, there's another little fighter.
Yep. So that is the museum's. It's an F-86 Sabre from the Korean War. So we had a number of those here for training in the 50s and 60s. So we're currently restoring this one, repairing some of the skin so it'll look more presentable.
Wow. That's awesome.
So this hangar only comfortably fit one B-29. That's how big that aircraft
Wow.
is. And to get it inside, you'll see these X's above the doors. That goes up to the ceiling to allow the tail to fit through.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, wow.
So the Enola Gay,
Really?
the boxcar, and the 13 other...
You wouldn't think they were that big, would you?
No.
Dang.
Yeah, they were something else. They had a 141-foot wingspan. This aircraft right here has less than a 100-foot wingspan.
Wow.
Are there any of those that are still around?
B-29s?
Well, I guess
There's a couple that are flying, actually.
there is.
And then all the rest...
Does
for the
Phil
most-
have one of those in their museum?
They do. They have one parked outside from their airport. So we would love when this gets restored to talk to the Air Force and say, hey, you need to get some of your aircraft out of the weather. We have a perfect place for it.
Yes.
Yeah, all those bombers that were involved in the Enola missions passed through the training.
Well, you guys look small. Wow. Experimental. Oh, these are right up my alley. I have to leave the guys behind because I can't stand it. I've got to come over here to this Blue Angels. Oh, it's up my alley.
Room here with these doors was the propeller shop. I could take the entire 16-foot diameter assemblies of propellers and move them around in there and work on them.
I'll have to look at those planes. Yeah, I don't, it didn't seem like they were that big. But they got to be.
Yeah, that's
If they really tried and had them parked cockeyed, they could squeeze a couple in here, but this was built just for one. So a lot of the time they probably had maybe a nose pulled in and a tail pulled in, something like that, so they could work on 2 aircraft at a time. But yeah, they were much bigger than what we were working with.
crazy.
So our first step for the interior restoration, we have restrooms going in right behind that wall. So soon that'll be the lobby. Folks can pass through there.
So you'll move out of the building you're in and you'll be down here, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So we'll still have stuff over there, but we'd like when we can actually do that to try and open a diner there in the mess hall.
Oh,
If
yeah.
Wendover needs another place to eat.
Yes. That's not in a casino.
So, I mean, our goal is to restore all of the base so that folks can actually take a shuttle at any time go around, see different sites on the base and explore it.
Oh, that'd be nice.
We're trying to open up more of it.
So what's the story on this big boy?
Also privately owned.
Private.
It came in over 2 years ago. Both of the engines blew something, so they were spewing oil when they came in.
Oh.
We're still waiting for the owners to come back and fix it up and fly it out, is their plan.
Wow.
But that's a Grumman Albatross. I think they were introduced about 1947. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard to believe that big old turd would even get off the ground.
Let alone water.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Seemed like it would have the power for that, but it does.
It's amazing you can get that kind of thrust out of a freaking propeller, isn't it? To me, it's baffling.
More people find out about
Yeah, I'm
tours.
promoting you guys. This is free advertisement.
Oh, perfect. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we have an adventure channel, and so where we go places, we put them up, and we get a lot of views. So this might be some good advertising for you.
Good. Everything helps us.
Right.
In the middle of nowhere.
No, and I'm happy to do it too.
So out there to the right, that fenced-in compound, those are our remaining one-story barracks. We have 13 of those
Oh
left.
my gosh, look at that. Look how old they are.
So the one up front is completely restored, the painted one there.
Uh-huh.
So our reenactors will stay in it and other groups. But our goal is to fix up as many as we can and let people actually stay in them. Because we still have the original dining facility in there with a working kitchen. We just need to get a latrine up and running.
So does your other tour, would you be able to see some stuff like that
Yeah,
on that?
so that other tour, you'd get to go through the barracks compound, the dining hall, and then
Oh.
that next block is the hospital. So you
Oh.
actually get to go into several of those buildings as well.
Oh, that would be fun.
So we had a 300-bed hospital. All those are separate buildings that were connected by wooden walkways. So those were separate wards, mess halls, whatever they needed. So it was a big place.
Huh.
I'll climb them that's that high with a cage on it, but I'm not going up that ladder. Oh hell no.
Oh yeah, look at them all.
Look at all the whole bombs over there. All sitting aside so we can find the manpower to restore them and use them to deploy around the base.
I think that's great decor.
I thought they'd bulldozed all the old barracks.
All but those ones. So we're glad we still have that little compound to work with. One of them actually just burned down in November because the airport was renting it to someone as a shop, and
Oh.
for some reason they had a wood burning stove, and that got away from them, unfortunately. So this aircraft in front of us, since you're filming, we can get out and walk around it.
Okay.
This is a Douglas C-54 Skymaster in 1944. And you can go up close.
Okay.
So we had 5 of these here with the Atomic Mission Group. They were called the 320th Troop Carrier Squadron. And they were their own private logistics support, flying materials around the country for their top secret mission. These would have been shuttling scientists and engineers from Los Alamos to work on bomb designs here in Wendover.
Oh wow.
And then these aircraft were flying non-stop between Tinian Island and the United States, trying to get ready for the atomic mission. So we just purchased this as the museum in September, and we're going to be restoring it to look like one of those aircraft. And that'll be moved into our hangar over there.
That'll be neat.
Yeah.
It's actually been sitting here about 10 years.
Oh, it has.
Yeah. They didn't want to come back to fix it up, and they've been asking way too much for it. We finally got a good price out of it. So this was last used as a fire tanker, so we're going to be removing this belly tank there where they carry.
Oh, right, right.
I'm surprised they just wouldn't do it.
We would have loved that. We were waiting for it.
Can't believe it. You know?
Leave it here for freaking 8 or 10 years and then charge you for it.
we have this looking a little more presentable and in the hangar, we'll actually let people walk through it.
You know, and it doesn't look bad though. It really doesn't.
No, especially for sitting out here in the wind.
Yeah. Wind, dust, and dirt.
Looks like there's a cover missing. Oh, right there.
Yeah, so we just removed those as our first step to access the rest of the belly tank.
This is the fuel tank here.
That's all just for their water. That's what they were dropping on fire.
Well, that's a good view down there of the.
All the hangars.
Yeah. All Wendover.
So if you've heard of the Berlin Candy Bomber, Gail Halverson from Utah, this is the same kind of plane he was flying in the Berlin airlift.
Oh,
Oh yeah. He's from Tremont.
Yep.
that's where we
We
live.
live in Tremont.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Which I guess that makes sense. You're pretty close to
Yeah.
ATK there. I guess now it's Northrop Grumman, right?
Yes. Yeah,
I
they
just wish
changed.
you would give me a quarter an hour raise for every time they change the name.
Right?
It's been I don't know how many times now.
Yeah.
Of course, I waited until I was near retirement.
Well, we're right. I'm 6 miles.
Oh yeah, you're a hop, skip, and a jump now.
There again, I just can't even believe that it turned like this so we can get off the ground.
I mean, that's big and heavy. Yeah, I understand that things are big fast, but they ain't that. How fast can it spin? They don't even spin that fast.
Especially that big, huge Howard Hughes, the Blue Goose or the
Spruce
Spruce
Goose.
Goose. Yeah,
Oh,
good
yeah.
grief. How did that thing?
Combat. So we never had nuclear material. These guys were designing those prototypes to test flight characteristics, ballistics, as well as the internal electronics.
Huh.
Because both the Little Boy and Fat Man bombs each had 4 radar units, 6 barometric sensors, a number of clocks, and they had batteries to power the electronics. Because these were set to detonate about 1,800 feet above the Earth for a larger blast radius. So there was a lot going into making sure they could detect that altitude and detonate where they were supposed to. So that's a lot of what these guys were perfecting out here. So in order to actually load those bombs onto the aircraft, I mean, these were big 10,000-pound bombs of much larger size and shape than anything else we had in our arsenal. To load them, they had to devise these brand new concrete pits so that they could actually get the aircraft over the bombs and have the power to put them inside.
I can't believe the bunker's out here. Well, they're a long ways over there still.
Yep.
Okay, tell me what this is again now that we're right here. That way I can have it on our video.
So this is our atomic bomb loading pit. These bombs were so large and so heavy, in order to get them into the aircraft, these B-29s, they built these pits. Down in the bottom is a hydraulic lift. So they would actually, once they had one of these prototypes completed, they would truck it over on a trailer. Then they would use an Army wrecker or tow truck to lower that in onto the platform that would have been on there.
Wow.
And just like in a car shop, that hydraulic lift had the power to push that up into the belly of an aircraft once it was parked over top of this.
That's crazy.
That would be heavy.
So at all times, those bombs, or what they called them was test shapes, were covered with a tarp so no one can see them, because you have a terrific view from anywhere around here.
Yeah.
And then as a further measure, there's these holes around the pit. They would screw in about a 4-foot tall post, and this would be wrapped with a tarp as well so that they couldn't actually see it extended out of the pit when it was going into the aircraft.
Wow.
At its peak, we had nearly 400 FBI agents out here, just helping keep the Manhattan Project under wraps that was going on in Wendover.
Wow.
If anyone left the base for any reason, they were tailed by at least a couple of agents, and they knew everything that you did, said, and ate. So they took their precautions.
That's
This is the
fascinating.
main runway right here, isn't it?
Yeah, this is our main runway now. Originally, this one used to be actually quite up close to those. So in the 90s, they actually reconstructed the airport and brought that one in closer.
So it was closer to where?
To those buildings out
Those
there.
Clear the hell over there
Yep.
where the runways were?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really? Dang, that's a long ways to bring the planes in and out of those hangars.
Yeah, so this one is our 10,000 foot runway, and then we have an 8,000 foot runway that crosses diagonally.
Oh, okay.
So that's about 2 miles, huh? This one?
Yeah, so that is a good sized runway. It can accommodate anything.
And they just come and go with nobody in the control tower. Those,
Yep.
Huh.
sure, they tell somebody they're coming.
That is a big backstop for big guns.
That's right. My family and I moved here from Columbia. I got the job about 2 years ago.
You know all about Baikal then, Fremont.
My family is actually from Fremont, so I know Fremont very well.
What's your last name?
Mine's Georgie, but we're East Steps. My mom is
You're not an East Step.
And then my uncle is Curtis Wise, who also works in Northrop Grumman.
You know Lowell?